wonderful story that will warm your hearts, just as the breathtaking scope of a new screen wonder will widen your eyes. White Christmas.
So, White Christmas, for those who don't already know, is a film from 1954. It's a musical about two song and dance men who meet during the war and then form a successful partnership. Then, many years after the war, they find out that their beloved general from the war is now managing a hotel in Vermont and struggling a little bit financially. So, they decide to put on a show for him. This was picked by one of our brilliant guests, the actor and podcaster Mike Fenton Stevens. He picked it because a lot of people know the song White Christmas. It is one of the most successful songs of all time. But I think what he was sort of saying was he thinks that it's a little bit underseen now because a lot of people aren't seeking it out.
So over on IMDb at the time of recording, it gets a 7.6. And then over on Rotten Tomatoes, it gets 77% from the critics and 88% from the audience. And that was a little lower than what I was expecting when you think about some of the other films that we've done of this nature as well. I'd actually never seen it before, but a lot of it did feel a bit familiar. Some of the things I really enjoyed about this are just some things that I really like about these classic films. There's a lot of very, very long takes in this. There's not many edits at all, which means there is nowhere for the actors to hide. You've got to stay in character and you've got to deliver for very long periods of time. And I think the actors in this really nailed it and they were a joy to watch. I also really enjoyed some of the dance numbers in this and thought they were just expertly done. I love musicals anyway, and so I really enjoyed some of those. And Vera Ellen especially was so impressive. If you watch her feet as she's dancing, she's going so fast. The skill that she shows in this film I just thought was so impressive, and I was really in awe of her, and I felt a bit similar to how I did when I saw Jane Russell in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. She just really had that gravitas when she was on screen.
I enjoyed it. It was light-hearted, it was funnier than I thought it was going to be, some great patter between the four leads. It was the sort of film you want for Christmas, you know, it's real Christmas escapism, you know, a time gone by sort of thing. I really enjoyed it. Was there anything then that you didn't like about it?
I think the main thing for me is that I did find it a little bit long for what it was. So obviously the concept and the story are quite simple and quite predictable, and some elements in there are a bit repetitive. There's also, like I said, some very long singing and dancing numbers. Now, whereas I enjoyed this because I like that sort of thing, I think if you weren't really into it, it would really struggle to hold your attention for the length of the film. So I think that maybe that's where it may be struggling with some more modern audiences, because I don't think there is enough in there to keep you fully engaged for that amount of time.
Yeah, I'd agree with what you're saying there in terms of the length and keeping people, particularly younger viewers, engaged.
I do think it probably is a little bit underseen, and I actually think it's a tiny little bit underrated as well. It did evoke a lot of feelings for me as I was watching it. Maybe it's just because it's Christmas, I don't know, but I had a really good time, and I think it did hold up to the same standard as some of the other classic films that we've done that have been rated very highly indeed.